Is the Kharibdyss any good? This is an interesting question, because the Kharibdyss and the War Hydra are like cousins, but the War Hydra has long been considered better for general warfare. Yet, the Kharibdyss is classified as a monster killer monster. Is it good enough? We shall see. Please like, subscribe, comment, and consider donating through my Ko-fi page. Thanks as always. All support helps. This calls for a side-by-side stat comparison. Health on Ultra is 10,400 versus 9,458. Armor is identical at 60. Missile resistance is identical at 35. Leadership is 65, which isn't low, but given the kinds of fights they get in, it isn't shockingly high either. And melee attack is 55, slightly higher but with the infliction of poison included, weakening the opponent's damage output and speed. Max splash targets damaged is 5, so it's not going to chew its way through big blobs any better than the War Hydra. Melee defense is 38, better than the Hydra but not radically better. Weapon strength is 500, or 60 better, with almost all of the difference being armor piercing, going from 300 to 350. In addition, there's a bonus versus large of 30, which is pretty much top tier for out-of-the-box bonuses. Like the Hydra, the charge bonus here is 45. Mass is equal at 5,000. Without anything special messing with it, the Kharibdyss inflicts fear and terror, is a siege attacker, and has the Abyssal Howl debuff, inflicting -8 leadership to any enemy in 35 meters of it. On the other hand, what's not here? Regeneration and fire breath. They're gone. Nowhere to be found. Well, that has an asterisk. Rakarth can give Abyssal Howl to War Hydras and Frost Breath, rather than fire, to the Kharibdyss? The plural of it. Anyway, you just aren't getting the regeneration of the Hydra on the Kharibdyss. Minor note, the Kharibdyss is considered aquatic, but since it's larger than man-sized to put it mildly, there is no penalty being removed. However, bonuses to melee attack in the water would still apply. So yeah, if you get a chance to exploit this, and I wouldn't count on it much, go right ahead and do so. Past that, for how lords can boost a Kharibdyss, I point you to the War Hydra video because the same skills and techs apply. What that leaves us is a single entity with a single purpose. I mean, sure, you can use it as a terror inflictor, but its real purpose is fighting large entities. The question is, how large is large enough? I think that the ideal target is something like a chariot unit. Short of that, sending a Kharibdyss against, let's say, ogre squads may result in too much easy damage to the monster, and massed cavalry will dilute its hitting power. Sending it to 1v1 a giant may work, but you're also begging for a lot of trouble from the return fire, or return clubbing. I think that the canny, cunning player will use dread spears and related units to make it harder for large opponents to maneuver, pinning them as much as possible, for the Kharibdyss to come in and take over the fight. Remember, the Kharibdyss doesn't have any kind of charge defense. The incoming damage will be diluted, but an isolated monster, or a monstrous infantry unit with limited frontage, will be chewed apart by the hard-hitting monster. Past the entry-level offerings, what makes a Kharibdyss better comes down to bolstering leadership, because it'll probably run a long time before it actually dies. Potential magical buffs, and XP chevrons. Even without those, you still have a poison-inflicting monster that has 85 melee attack versus any large target. You want your monster to be better than entry-level, but against that group of Blood Knights, even the one fresh from spawning can do an awfully impressive job. Without regeneration, you might lose more than you would Hydras, but hey, they have different assignments. To go one step further, the Kharibdyss is fast enough to help forces like cavalry and fast infantry to clear the flanks, whereas the War Hydra is a frontline beast, aside from its need for separation to use fire breath. Once you clear out cavalry annoyances, you can make fear and terror routing happen all that much faster by crashing into the main line. Just remember, these monsters aren't designed to solo enemy armies. They're meant to add lots of mass and power to a more mundane force. Plus, if you're not using magic, you're not dark elfing right. Take care, and have fun taking a bite out of crime and monsters.